Okay, so a quick part 2 from last night. As y'all can see, I'm driving again. Quick part 2. So I met with her again today. She did get everything out of the house. She did get everything cleaned up. They did approve her $2,000 cash for keys. Gave her the check, and she gave me the keys to the house. So we'll move on to process the house now that she has moved out. So I got a question in regards to, could she have just given the letters to the owner? Thank you, by the way, Sophia Lewis. I appreciate you asking that question. But your question was, could she have just gotten the letters on the door and just given them to the owner, thinking that they didn't have anything to do with her? Well, I would imagine, yes, that's a possibility, but the likelihood of it, probably not. Normally what we do, like I said, I've been working on this property since July of this year. And so when we put a notice out after a foreclosure, it goes on the door. It doesn't go in the mailbox. We put ours directly on the door, and it says occupant. It doesn't say owner. It doesn't list a name. It says current resident or occupant. I also leave my business card. So most people have the opportunity to open the mail. And then if it is a attorney's office or a mortgage company that is trying to foreclose on you, 99% of the time they send you a certified letter, and that certified letter will be addressed to maybe the owner and all others. Most tenants know when they get an obsessive amount of mail coming to the house for the owner's name, and it's looking like it's from mortgage companies or attorneys. Trust me, they read it. They do read it. And if they don't read it, they at least know that something is going on. So I would encourage all of my renters out there, all of my tenants, if you are starting to receive a lot of letters from attorneys or mortgage companies, I ain't gonna tell you to read their mail, but if you want to know what's going on, I ain't gonna tell you to read their mail. But if you paying rent and they not paying the mortgage, it could be a not so good day for you, because somebody can come and knock on your door and say, hey, this property has been bought. You got 10 days to be out of here. Or they can take you to court. I mean, it's just a lot of different scenarios. So to answer your question, Sophia, in most cases, a tenant would know that this is a legal issue that needs to be addressed. And it'll say occupant or it'll say current resident. And like I said, when we deal with our foreclosed properties, we generally leave a notice on the door that says, hey, my name is Natalie. I'm with Covenant Properties Realty. We represent such and such bank. Regardless of your situation, please reach out to us and let us know if you're a renter, if you are a family member of the owner of the property, or if you are a family member of the deceased. Like, we are pretty descriptive. Like, we give a clear and concise letter to everyone that we are attempting to gain information from. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of times people don't want to deal with it. So to answer that question, I would say, unless you're just not looking and you don't care, most times, yes, you know what it is. So I would just say, if you are starting to get letters to your house of any kind, from the mortgage company, from the lender, you have a right as a tenant of the property to inquire, especially if it's addressed to occupant, because that's who you are. You are the occupant. So if it's addressed to occupant, go ahead and read it, because that could be notice for you that says, hey, this property is about to foreclose. And that will save you possibly a headache of having to be taken to court, which means you're going to miss work. That'll also give you notice that you have time to try to find you somewhere else to go. Like, a lot of times people don't have places to go. So if you don't have somewhere to go, it's going to make it harder for you if they give you a short period of time to make that happen. So yeah, that kind of answers the question. But I would just say to all my tenants, ask questions. Ask your landlord, hey, is this property about to foreclose? Have you been taking my rent money and making payments to the mortgage company? I've been getting a lot of letters. I've been getting a lot of communication from attorneys' offices, stating that this property is about to foreclose. They may not tell you the truth. I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of times landlords, they want to continue to collect the money without letting you know that the property is going to foreclose. And then you have paid, 20, 30, maybe $10,000, $15,000 into the rent in a property, not only that you'll never own, but that now you got to get out of. So just be very careful. In this situation, she actually was able to get the cash for keys, which is a good thing. And I did have a conversation with her, just let her know that, things are going to get better. It might seem tough right now, but things will change. Like, been there, done that. And I know for a certainty that life can change. So just want to also let you know, I have another similar situation with another house. This house is out in Covington. Same scenario, guys. Husband dies. Wife's name was not on the mortgage or on the deed. She stopped paying the mortgage or couldn't afford to pay the mortgage. I don't know what the situation was, but the mortgage was not being paid. Mortgage company forecloses. Once it forecloses, that's when we kick in. So she's in a little bit of a different situation. She was the wife, but she did not, again, get any type of power of attorney. She didn't have any type of recourse. So that tells me two things. Please set yourself up. Handle your business. Put your properties in a trust, and then make your loved ones the beneficiary of it. Or at the very minimal, go down to probate and take possession or ownership of that property. Call the mortgage company, let them know that the person is now deceased. What can you do? You want to stay in the property, but just don't be silent. Don't just say, oh well, it'll handle itself, because it will handle itself, but probably not in your favor. So with my lady on today, I met with her actually last week. She says she is interested in Cash for Keys. Cash for Keys, if I didn't explain that to y'all last night, Cash for Keys is a program where if you are being evicted or the property has foreclosed on, the bank or the new owner will provide funds to you to help you move, or provide funds for whatever you need. But you'll have to be out of the property by a certain date. It's generally 30 days or less. Sometimes it's even sooner than that, depending upon the amount that they give you. And the property has to be left in broom swept condition. Like, you got to get all your stuff out. You got to put all your trash on the street, and you got to leave it in decent condition. If you do not do that, then you don't get the Cash for Keys. But my lady on today, sweet older lady, y'all know my heart. I tell you, it's always just getting pierced one way or the other. But anyway, sweet little lady, she let me in. We talked. She was very nice. From the very beginning, she was open. She gave us all the information. She gave us HOA information. She gave us her personal contact information. She signed all the documents. $5,000 they giving this woman, $5,000. And that's, while it's not a whole bunch of money, it's enough to get you moved. It's enough to help you find somewhere else to go and pay for that first month's rent and security deposit. So it's definitely money that I think everybody will benefit from. I would again emphasize, if you get a Cash for Keys offer, please take it. It's worth it. Even if you don't need it, take it. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you guys an update. So my little lady, she's scheduled to move out next month, just before Thanksgiving, but she's ready. She's already applied for where she wants, and hopefully she'll get approved. But she gonna get her $5 grand, and they're gonna move her right up out of there. She's gonna leave the house in broom swept condition, and then we'll turn around and put it on the market. So there can be a good outcome to this. When people pass away and your loved ones pass away and things are not set up properly, you just have to learn to be proactive, and have to learn to don't just let it happen. Don't let things just happen. You have to be proactive instead of reactive. So yeah, I think that's it. That'll answer the question for Sophia. If you have any other questions, just let me know. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. I forgot to add, she also asked me to explain what the notices would look like. It really just depends. The first thing that you will get is what's called a demand letter. No, let me back that up. If you are going into foreclosure, if you have gone 90 days and you have not paid your mortgage, they're going to send you a notice of default, which basically says you have gone 90 days without paying your mortgage. You are going into default. We will now begin to seek foreclosure alternatives. I mean, a foreclosure process. Your property goes to the attorneys. The attorneys begin processing your paperwork, and you will start to get a barrage of all kind of notices and letters. You'll get a demand letter that basically states we demand our property, or we demand a certain amount of money, that sort of thing. It will be a legal document. It won't just be like a piece of paper. It's going to be a legal document. And so with that legal document, you do have the right to call. If they're sending it to that address, you have the right to call that number and say, hey, my name is Natalie. I'm the renter. I've been paying $2,000 a month for this property for the last 2 years. My lease does not expire until next February. What can I do? What are my alternatives? You have the right to do that as the occupant of the property. But if you do nothing, they are basically going to throw you out. Well, not throw you out. That's kind of cruel. But they are going to give you a notice to vacate and ask you to leave. Or they're going to evict you, which means you will be forcibly removed from the property. Your belongings will be set out on the street, and they're going to put a notice on the door that says no trespassing, which means you can't go back in. So the notice themselves, again, Sophia, thank you for those questions. The notice themselves will be a legal document, and it will say expressly who it comes from, the attorney that it comes from, or if it's the new owner, if it comes from them, if it's a demand letter from your landlord. Everything will be what they consider a legal document. Like, you will know that this is something that needs to be addressed. I don't have any in this truck with me, but maybe I can find a document for one of the properties that we have done in the past, because they send some of the notices to us, because again, we have to put them on the door. But again, I'm going to admonish y'all, if you are getting these notices on the door and you are a renter, if you're getting a lot of mail addressed to the owner, check it out. Because you could be setting yourself up, or find yourself in a situation that was made difficult, even though you have been paying your rent every month. And you have no recourse. You can't go to court and say, oh, I've been paying my rent every month, but my landlord didn't pay, and so he foreclosed. The judge is going to say, did you live in the property? And you're going to say, yes, I lived in the property. And the judge is going to say, well, I'm sorry, there's nothing more you can do. You paid your rent, which allowed you to stay in the property. It's the landlord's decision as to what he gonna do with the money. He can be responsible and choose to pay the rent, or he can ball out and not pay the rent. And then you just stuck. So I'm saying all that to say, be very careful, be very cautious, and be very proactive, so that you don't find yourself in a negative situation and trying to dig yourself out of a hole that you didn't even put yourself in. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.